Cool. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk About Ice. This is episode 9, and that round of applause actually was for you guys, because you've shown up and you're tuning in, so thank you very much for your support. This is the Australian Anti-Ice Campaign. Actually, before I do my little spiel, I've got the lovely Sasha here tonight. Now, Sasha is a foster carer. She's been involved in foster care for 10 years. And I'll have to agree, we didn't know, but we actually have a mutual friend. And Myra, if you're watching, lots of love. Myra, I'd have to agree with Myra. She said that Sasha is angel on the earth. And after speaking to Sasha briefly during the week, I'd have to agree. So we're going to talk to her very soon about all of that stuff. Guys, this is the Australian Anti-Ice Campaign, and we are not okay that this drug is ruining so many lives out there, and we're not just going to stand by and let this happen. So we have a real passion here to educate, saturate this nation in education and awareness. And in fact, the actual goal for the Australian Anti-Ice Campaign is to make ice a non-issue in this nation. It needs not to be an issue, which I'm going to continue to say until you're sick of me, because it doesn't need to be an issue. Definition of insanity, people, is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So we propose that we do something dramatically different. And what is that difference? We propose a mandatory ice-specific educational program to be rolled out nationally and delivered by people with lived experience. Now, we've got boxes, guys, boxes and boxes of testimonials, positive testimonials from people who have experienced these workshops. No doubt that it makes a real difference. And the statistics actually show where this system has been implemented elsewhere in another country, that there was a 63% decrease in ice use over a certain amount of years. It definitely works. We have actually Australianised this system and made it better, added things and that, so the decrease could be a lot more. So once again, thank you for tuning in. You can help us by rolling this out by joining the Australian Anti-Ice Campaign Army, the AAIC Army. $5 a month, nothing. It's $5 a month minimum to join. That means 2 children get educated, receive this educational program. So if you feel called to help out, jump on australianantiicecampaign.org.au. There's a little click there, join the army. It'd be wonderful to have you a part of the army so we can make ice a non-issue, really make that a reality. I can't wait to come on this show one day and go, you know what, ice isn't a problem in Australia anymore. Well done to all of us. So hopefully in the coming years that will be a reality. Right, some other stuff. November 19, Melbourne launch. Is it 19? Yes! I'm so excited about that. Please come down, check out the Facebook page, get in touch with Sezen. She's organised an epic event down there. You're not going to want to miss it. And you'll meet all the core crew down there. It's going to be a wonderful, beautiful night down at an awesome venue. So be sure to contact Sezen. Tickets are really cheap and going to be an awesome night. So be sure to check that out. We've also had a lot of interest from Warwick. They're very interested in getting us up there, forming a committee up there. So if you're someone listening from Warwick or in surrounding areas, please get in touch with us. The office number is 56656063. Have a chat to us about what we can do up in Warwick. I personally know the regional areas are suffocating at the hands of this drug, so we definitely want to put a focus out in the regional areas. So once again, if you're in Warwick or surrounding areas, you think you might be able to help out there, get in touch with the office. Volunteers, we're looking for volunteers, guys. There's so much happening with AOIC. It's really picking up some pace. So we're in need for volunteers. The number again is 07566566063. There's more. Wait, there's more. Not steak knives, but there is more. If you are if you're in recovery, an addict that's in recovery, there may be an opportunity for you to join our team as a presenter, an educator. If that is something that you feel called to be a part of, please get in touch with us via Facebook or that office number. We have a training session happening next Thursday from 10 till 1. So there's a little window of opportunity here for anyone out there who's feeling called. They might want to give back through presentation and being involved in education. Get in touch with us, guys. As I said, I'm running training sessions next Thursday, so it'd be great to have you on board. Okie dokie. Big shout out to Mark, actually, for last week. What a powerful sharing last week was.
Definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely. If you haven't seen Mark's testimonial, go to our Facebook page as well. He does like half an hour testimonial of his story and goes right into it. Really phenomenal. That guy is a walking miracle. Also, his book is available, Marked by Mercy. That's on our website, australianantiicecampaign.org.au. Yes, I've got so much more to say, but we'll just use up all the time. Oh, yeah, the shirts. Guys, the shirts are coming very soon. If you don't panic, just breathe, keep calm, and call AAIC. If you're struggling with addiction, if you're a family member, just give us a call. We can help. A lot of outreach this week, guys. A lot of outreach. A lot of sad stories, actually. I personally got in touch with a mum who's got a 15-year-old that looks like is in ice addiction. So it's very real, guys. It is out there. It's doing damage and it is killing a lot of people. Cool. Three's up. Yeah. Howdy. Jim. G'day, mate. Nice to see you again. Yeah, a big special welcome to everyone that tunes in, and a big thank you to everyone that tunes in every week. And a special thank you if it's your first time as well. Just share and like, invite. Let's get this education out of you guys. Make a difference. So, Sasha. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us on the couch.
No, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
Nice. So, foster care, it's really a new subject to me. Actually, a friend of mine said probably 2 years ago, she was involved on some level and just said the increase in the need for foster carers and parents has just gone through the roof because of ICE. I'm not saying that's a proper survey or anything like that, but is that your experience?
Well, my experience is I'm finding the reasons for children coming into, say, my care personally, have definitely increased with the impact of drugs and primarily ICE. I cannot say that 100%, of course, because we don't know what happens behind closed doors, but definitely 10 years ago, the reasons children were coming into care were a lot different than these days.
Yeah.
So in one way or another, ICE is a bit of a ripple effect with children coming into a care, from my opinion. Yes.
Sure. Let's go to the beginning. What do you actually do? Tell us about what you actually do. What's your role? What's the service you provide?
So my role as a foster carer is to open my doors to what's called displaced children. So children which have been removed from their home for various reasons. Parents may have passed away, parents may be not in a position to look after the children mentally, emotionally, financially, the impact of drugs, domestic violence and ICE are big on the radar at the moment. We see them on Facebook and on all social media, you see it everywhere.
Yeah, the whole domestic violence and ICE thing really goes hand in hand, and yeah, we are seeing that. I just want to, before we get into some other stuff, what drives you? What happened? How did you get involved in this?
I get this question all the time. Why do you do foster care? And I always remember as a child, my auntie's friend, I hope she's watching tonight, hello Auntie Sandra, her friend used to have all these different children coming and staying at her house all the time, and I used to say, well, they're not her children. Why has she got all these kids coming and going? And my auntie, favourite Auntie Sandra, explained to me that these children, instead of going into an orphanage, which is what used to happen many years ago, children will go into an institution. Yeah. Now they will go out into homes, which is foster care. So I always had that in my mind from a young girl, that one day I wanted to help children, and how could I do that? And it wasn't until later in my life that I've did the training to become a foster carer.
What a wonderful service. We see, like personally in ARC, we see so many kids wearing the brunt of ice addiction, and it's not just the kids, the adult. Kids are losing their parents to it, parents are losing their kids to it. Can you tell us a little bit more about your training? When you were going through training to become a foster carer, was there any ice-specific education? Was there drug education through that, or?
Look, I did my training 10 years ago, so 10 years, like when I first started, it was such a different time in such a short span of time, really. So ICE really wasn't on the radar with my training. It was more about other issues and trauma-based issues that we were trained about and how to cope with different situations. But no, when I first started, there was no ICE training. I, at the moment, have not done... We do have access to different training sessions about trauma and how to handle certain traumas, but I've never had any ICE-specific training or how to handle any drug situations. So I feel that that's really needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. So I mean, I'd be open to doing some training straight away.
Yeah, I would think personally in this day and age that would be a positive thing to integrate into the foster caring sort of system, being that there is so much of it out there, and just knowing what to expect with maybe a child that's been in a home with ice use. And
well, look, I think it's a positive thing. I think it's a necessity. Myself as a carer, I need training. I need to know what signs to look for. I think it's such I shouldn't say new thing, but I think it's new because of the internet and social media. We're able to read about different situations and cases and all the bad things that are happening, but there's no one there to train us. So, but what I would like to see for me, myself and my other foster carer parents out there is real training. This is the dilemma, is you can receive training from a booklet, a piece of paper, and that's fine, but I need to know how to help little Johnny that's throwing a tantrum or maybe showing signs of impact from the ice, and instead of me thinking it's a tantrum, it could be a reaction. I need to know, so I have the skills and tools to support that child.
Maybe that's something we can look into, maybe running some dual diagnosis or something. We could look into that, because I feel it's important. We've got a question here, similar. What support is there now through the foster care system for ICE knowledge and understanding? I think that's maybe something that needs looked at, definitely. So we've learnt in the last couple of weeks the effects are incredible just from the passively being in a house. If someone's smoking, if you smoke 12 pipes in a 3x3 room, then that room is contaminated for up to 18 months. So these little kids are going to be, soaking that in.
Yes. I mean, that you discussed that with me the other day, and I was actually really shocked.
Yeah, it's full on.
And it was a scary fact that even if that child goes for family contact, I mean, I have compassion and empathy for the family, the addict, the medical practitioners, the children, the families, other foster carers. But when children come into foster care, they also, most of them have what's called family contact. So it's really important that the discussion we had about that room, when a family member is smoking ice in the room, that residue is on things in that room. So my concern was, what happens if the children go to family contact and if that family contact's in the residence and the child touches something in there. So I'd like to know actually what happens if they touch the plate or the wall. Do they get residue on the hand? Is that absorbed through the skin? I need to know that for a duty of care.
Yeah, totally. That's true. And it goes into the carpet everywhere, the walls. When it's contaminated, it's contaminated. So you're getting the effects of ice, second,
Yeah, secondary.
Yeah, secondary. It's a real issue. You can imagine infants or toddlers and stuff. So we recommend on that note you get your house tested. If you're buying a new house or renting, it's only $80 for a kit to get your house tested to see if it tests positive. So let's get to a bit to the nitty gritty. I know you can't know absolutely if it's an ICE related thing. Can you tell us some of the situations that have presented with the children that have come to you?
Okay, so with foster care, first of all, I want to say a lot of people, family members that may be addicted to ice or have that in their family, often will look at the foster care system as a negative. But if you look at me and you think, okay, well, that my child or my grandchild is going into foster care and being cared by someone that has a big heart and compassion, is going to follow up on their medical needs, and they're safe.
Yeah.
For the time being, you know, they're in a safe environment. So I just want to say to all the families out there and any of you that do have an addiction that please, it's very hard to look on the foster care system in a positive way, but if you can see me and know that I open my house to the children to look after them and keep them safe for a period of time, you know. Yeah.
Would you suggest to people maybe out there who are struggling with addiction maybe to look into that while they sort themselves out? Is that...
Look, I would suggest to be open-minded to it. It's very hard. I mean, I'd be devastated if my children were removed, but you've also got to take consideration what is the best for the children at that time. I mean, if you have an addiction, it may be hard to make that decision, what is the best for my children.
Yeah, sure, exactly. You're not thinking clearly.
No, but we were talking about that residue. So look, I have had someone come to me and say that they knew about a family, and this wasn't in the foster care system, that a young teen said to me, look, I know my friend's mother does ice, and they've got younger siblings, and she does it while she's there, but she also manages to keep a job and whatever. So it was really hard. So I made some suggestions, but you know, it's very hard. It's a very hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, sure.
To give up your children.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
But you really do have to think about those children, the safety at the moment. Get yourself sorted out if you can. You know, ask for help. It takes one step to ask for help.
And we are here, like we keep sharing, we are here, we are a support network. We can point you in whatever direction you need to go, whether you're struggling with addiction or if you are a family member with someone in addiction. Can you share with us, like you shared some pretty full-on stuff when we had a little conversation the other week, during the week, some of the stuff you're seeing in the kids, some of the behaviour that's shocked you that...
Okay, so for reasons of privacy, I can't mention specifics or names. I can dance around it a little bit, but you know,
just so people know, you know, the
yes. Okay, so what happens when I get a call in the middle of the night, and there's different categories of foster care. So there's emergency, where you'll get the phone call in the middle of the night. Can you take two children? They've been removed from a home by the police. And so that, for instance, you know, you'll get children that arrive with no shoes on and the clothes that they're in, and that's it. So within 24 hours, I have to deck those children out, settle them down. I don't have a history, so I'm given very limited information to work with, so I don't know. Usually I'm not told whether it is due to ICE, domestic violence or whatever. I'll be given a briefing. So basically I might get children in the middle of the night, and then they're acting out their behaviours, their trauma. They may have witnessed, you know, ICE or domestic violence or whatever. So I then have to almost be like a Sherlock Holmes and work it out myself. So, you know, some of the behaviours, you know, it might be yelling or screaming. I did have children in my house that would not have the lights off. I've had a child where they insisted they would not go to bed until every curtain was closed because of fear of people looking in.
Oh, wow.
You know, so and this is a little child, you know, has to have the curtains closed.
Wow.
You know, not non-verbal, so children, often one of the effects is trauma-based, especially what we're seeing with the drugs is children don't have the attention, aren't getting the attention at home, so they're not getting that interaction from their parents, and so then you'll get a lot of young infants,
Yeah.
which one of the reactions is non-verbal, which means they haven't been taught how to speak.
At what age are you seeing that?
This
up
was
to?
at 3.
And they couldn't speak at all?
They couldn't speak.
Yeah.
So it
So
is-
what has that child gone through for 3 years to arrive at that point?
Yeah. So the children learn their cognitive skills, their speech skills, their hygiene skills, going to the toilet. A lot of the children I've had to basically teach how to go to the toilet. These things that you and I take for granted, when mum and dad may be off on a little bit of a bender or maybe a bit down and they're reaching for something to help them,
Yeah.
the children kind of are sitting back and not getting that interaction which develops their skills, their basic skills.
Yeah, sure. And we're not here to bag out those parents
No,
at all.
not at all.
Definitely not. This campaign has been formed on the basis of people in recovery. So we've gone through that, and we understand that addicts have trauma and they're going through stuff, and it's really the drug within the system, not the person. So we're definitely not here to bag out parents or anything like that. We just want to work out how we can make things better for everyone. So have you got some, is there enough foster carers?
Look, the other day I heard some statistics, it was on social media and also in the media, that I believe the foster care system lost about 1,500 foster carers last year.
Wow.
Now, my perception of that is if you treat your foster carers better, you arm them with the tools and better training. I mean, we do have training available, so I'm not saying we don't, but it needs to be relevant to today. And at the moment, in the media, and now it's the relevant issues are domestic violence and the impact of ICE in the community from my point of view.
Sure.
So I would love some skills and some training on that, but some real skills that I can use. I need to know what to look for, how to help the children, and also look. The main objective of foster care is also family reunification.
Okay, speak more about that, definitely.
So family reunification, so for that to happen, all the issues have to be addressed. So that means mum and dad, or mum or dad, that may have the addiction, so they need help, they need guidance, and they need to know where to go. The family members, so grandma and grandpa, they may have the kids, or the children may be in foster care. So the grandparents also need to know who to call. They need training. They need to know what to do, because the grandparents, we're seeing a very high number of elderly people and grandparents taking on children, which is called kinship care. So it's a family foster care. And I know that has increased dramatically.
Yeah, I know a lot of grandparents taking on their kids while they're...
So we need training for everyone. We need to fix all the problems. So mum and dad, or whoever's impacted by ICE or drugs, we need training for the grandparents or family members, because I do believe they don't get as much intensive training as, say, a foster carer would.
Yeah.
Now, I've got 10 years of experience from all sorts of children coming into my home, and so I need training, and I feel I'm quite an experienced foster carer and very compassionate, but I need training as well.
Well, as everything's changing, obviously you'd need updated, and ICE is on. ICE is increasing. We know that. It's the stats say it is. So obviously that's wearing on all the services, including yours.
Yes, and I think the big thing that I find the really vulnerable age group at the moment is like the pre-teens. So they're coming out of that primary school and going 12, 13 years of age, where they might be living with a single parent, and they're looking for a role model, or they're looking to fit in, and the social media is an impact for those young kids. So we need to target, from my opinion, those young teens as well. I think that's a super vulnerable age, because that's the age, if we can target where it starts, if we can educate in the schools now, so the kids and the teens, do not want to try this drug.
Not even once.
Not
That's
even
our
once.
message.
Not even
Not
once.
even once. And we will get that across the nation.
You know, so it's not, you can't just go, oh, we've got an ice problem. We've got to fix where it comes from. We've got to educate all the people involved, especially the young ones, because I am hearing some horrendous stories. As I said, I can share only so much.
Yeah.
Even when your teen comes home from school and she's saying, yeah, there's drugs in my school. I mean, years ago you might have heard about marijuana, but now, oh no, yeah, there's drugs in my school, or so-and-so tried this, and friends of mine are telling me, oh, my son's just tried ice, and, you know, that's pretty scary.
That is totally scary. It really is. This ice kills adults, and we know that, and we've shared this. I'm so grateful you've brought that up. It is very scary. A young teenager taking this drug, it's a different kettle of fish to any other drug.
But it's the reason why we've got to focus on the reason, the core.
Absolutely, the core reason.
You know, that, like I look at, you know, a friend of mine called me and said, I have a problem with my son. What do I do? Now I'm a foster carer. I couldn't give her the correct answer. I didn't know a number to call, and I've met you guys now, which is fantastic.
Yep.
So that's a fantastic tool for me. You know, I now can refer people to you.
Yeah.
But I really didn't know what to do. So if I don't know what to do, how is the mainstream public?
Absolutely, exactly. So all the more reason to share these posts and let everyone know about AAIC. You don't know, I've said this many times, you don't know who in your network or your network's network is going to need this information. We are trained to do brief interventions, so if you are a parent out there and you've got a young teenager, we're seeing so many 12, 13, 14-year-olds falling victim to this. So if you are a parent with that, get in touch with AORC. We can send out a couple of our crew to do brief interventions, have a chat and see what's going on, see if we can get to the bottom of it. Because it's not okay that young teenagers are falling victim to this drug, and it's not like, you're bad, don't do drugs. It's sad, and a lot of them don't know. They're just genuinely ignorant to how dangerous it is. So share, guys. Invite your friends and family to like the page. We really want to make a difference. And what you're sharing, the vulnerability of those young teens.
Yes.
We're seeing so much of that, and I see them lost in that young age, and they don't have any direction or purpose, and then they fall into the trap of ice. Once they've used ice once, it's so scary.
Yeah.
Only 2% of people ever get off the drug.
Yes, wow.
And that's a stat, and 27 a day are picking up nationally. So that's such a scary fact, and such beautiful potential at that young age being lost. So. And
I think what I'm seeing, regardless whether it's ice, alcohol, domestic violence, bullying is a massive thing. So you've got to get to the core roots. Why do people reach for drugs, alcohol, or why do they hit? So especially with these pre-teens, the impact of social media. If I can say one thing, and that is be connected with your children. Doesn't matter who you are. Social media is the easy babysitter these days, I call it. So you've got to know what your children are doing on the internet, and it's not just let's post fun pictures these days. It's the behind the scenes with the private messaging, people getting bullied. So then those people want the children that are getting bullied or don't fit in. They might try ice to fit in.
There's so many reasons why people get...
So we've got to educate those kids.
Yeah.
If we can get them earlier, great. But pre-teens, for me, that's the vulnerable age I'm seeing at the moment.
And that's what we want to do with the program, really. No matter how low you are, ice isn't the answer. No matter what. The bullying and all this, there's so many reasons people experiencing trauma and, feeling outcast, wanting to fit in, peer pressure, all this stuff that's been around forever. So many reasons why people get caught up in drugs and rebellious behaviour, yet this is just not a drug. There's nothing recreational about it. You want to stay away from it. So not even once is our message again.
But there is one thing I want to say to people out there, and this is one thing I have learnt, and that ice and drugs are not a socio-economic thing.
No,
and I'm seeing that in the foster care industry as well, and it does not discriminate. You could be a lawyer, you could be wealthy, whatever. and I've seen children come into my care
Thank you.
from high socioeconomic families. So it's not just low income or people on Centrelink that are on this drug. I've had a friend of mine said her husband was on ice for 2 years and she did not know. It's just his behaviour changed. He got more angry, and took her 2 years to work out what was going on.
Wow. Yeah. The family support number, guys, 0481 844 555. As we've said, if you're struggling, if you've got a loved one, please give us a call and we can sort it out. So, is there anything else that you feel that you guys need as foster carers? How can the system be made better? Oh, actually, no. What I wanted to talk about when you were talking before, you were talking about what is it? The family
Okay, so family reunification is the main objective of foster care. Is family reunification.
Okay, so...
So that means trying to get that primary family unit back together.
Yep.
If they can, as providing it is a safe environment for the children.
So is there a middle person involved in that when you take the children for care? Is there a middle person that works with the parents and how does that all
So the
work?
system is that when children are removed from a home or put into foster care, they are under the umbrella of what's called Child Safety or the Department of Community Services. And then they oversee the welfare of the child and the placement with foster carers.
Yeah.
There's also sub-agencies which look after foster carers. But primarily it's the Department of Child Safety or Department of Communities that look after that. But there is a big thing that I wanted to say is I get asked all the time, oh, my neighbours, I can hear them screaming. I saw on one of the Facebook pages the other day that a woman had put a post up in a community page that she could hear screaming from next door and the children getting abused and whatever, and she didn't know what to do, or she didn't know who to call. So I'm an experienced foster carer, and I also had another phone call from another friend, and I didn't know who to call.
Well, perfect, sure.
Yeah.
Keep calm, call AAIC.
So definitely call AAIC, but also if you don't sit back and ignore the problem in your communities. Speak up or lend a hand, or if you feel that someone has an ice addiction or children may be in harm's way, call the AAIC. Or for children, you can also call what's called the regional intake. So if you have fear for children's safety, you can call the regional intake office.
I'll give that number,
Yeah,
that's all right.
go.
So regional intake, explain exactly what that's for.
Okay, so you then can call this number, you express your concerns and put in a report, you give them the details, and then they will do an investigation to make sure those children are in safe hands, or they just investigate further. So this is the regional intake.
Yeah.
Of course, O,
Yeah.
ARC, but regional intake is for children specific.
Okay, so that number's 1300 679 849, and definitely don't sit by. If you have concerns, pick up the phone, make the call. Consequences can happen if you don't speak up. So we need people to speak up and show up. So the number's 1300 679 849, and that's the regional intake. What else? You've shared heaps of cool stuff. Is there anything else that you would like to share about foster caring, about this drug, about the things that you see?
Look, as I said, I can't say anything specific, but a reasonably recent case that I've had, it's the ripple effect. I call it the ripple effect.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So the ripple effect is, it's not just the people that may have the addiction. The ripple effect is, it affects the family, extended family, it affects the children, it affects the workers, so the CSO, child safety officers, that have to go out and look after the children, and it affects the foster carers, and people might go, well, how does it affect you?
Of course it affects.
So you have to understand the children that come into my care aren't my birth children, but I still have empathy and compassion for these children, take them in. And I recently did a course with foster care, which is about vicarious trauma. And vicarious trauma is secondary trauma. So when I'm taking an amount of children into my house, and they all have different behaviours or experience different things, especially with the ice I'm seeing. I then absorb their trauma, and then sometimes I need to have a break. And so me absorbing their trauma is, I get it's almost like a PTSD, so I can get a vicarious trauma. So it can be really draining and really sad for me because I can only do so much.
Yeah.
I can't fix the parents, I can't help the parents, I can't fix the children. All I can do is offer love and a safe home.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I don't feel and have that pain and compassion. So you imagine if I have 20 children come through my house in a year, and then I'm absorbing all their trauma, it can be really hard on me.
I couldn't even imagine, with a heart, just to, how does that go for you? Is there, okay, before I go into that question.
Yes.
Is ice having the same effect as alcohol, fetal syndrome on babies during pregnancy? Do you know anything about that?
Well, look, as a foster carer, I personally don't. The age group I have, I prefer, I should say, on my contract is 3 to 18. So I don't take babies because I'm not as experienced. But a lot of my friends that are foster carers do have babies and are getting more and more ice addicted babies. So at the moment, there's no real studies if the ice is affecting the babies the same way as the alcohol fetal syndrome. So this is another thing that we need.
Yeah. Well, it would be obvious if it's going to affect you through passive smoking or being in a house. Then if the baby's, of course, it's not brain surgery. It is definitely going to be having an effect. So.
Yes, definitely. So you think if mum, is feeling down, and then she might reach for some ice, and then she's touched it with her fingers, and then she goes to pick up the bulb and then touches the skin of the baby or the bottle, or even goes to breastfeed. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that it's got to go into the baby system.
Yeah. So how many children roughly would you take annually? Does it vary?
Look, it varies. I feel that I'm getting more calls for emergency care than I am for any other type of care. So there's primary care, respite, which is relief care, or there's emergency care, which is you get the phone calls in the middle of the night. And I have found over the last, say, 5 years that I've taken more emergency children in that need a place to go now.
Yeah, it's got too much. So how long would you usually take a child?
There's a system and procedures, a legal system. So, the minimum is usually, I might get a call and say, can you take a child overnight? We've got nowhere to place them. Or can you take a child for 3 days? But usually that 3 days extends on to 2 weeks. Or can you take them for 2 more months? And so it's not as easy as, can you just take a child for 1 month? It's never that easy. Because we don't know what's going to happen with mum and dad. We don't know what's going to happen with the court system. And in that time, I have to make sure that those children are safe, look after their medical, their emotional state of being, everything. So
what a wonderful service that you provide. That's integral. So, and everything that we're sharing it's just makes me want to share more about educating and getting this out there with the kids. The ripple effect that you shared is huge, and we know that.
It's a killer, literally, the ripple effect.
Yeah. So the foster carers, everyone, the hospitals, mental health, police, the family members, everybody is being affected by this drug. I mean, we're all really being affected on some level by it. So yeah, guys, all the more reason to share what AAIC is doing. As I said, we propose a mandatory educational program, ICE-specific program, in every school across our country, so every child receives this education through a person with lived experience. So you've done awesome. Let's just go through a few questions. Which one, Karen? Are the children coming into your care displaying different behaviours due to their parents using ice?
Definitely. And each child shows different behaviours. So as I said, I've had a child in my care that was non-verbal. So basically didn't have the interaction with his parents, so therefore didn't know how to speak. I've had a friend have children, once again I've got to be careful for privacy reasons,
Sure.
that hadn't been taught how to use a toilet. So therefore would basically, as a toddler, squat in the middle of the lounge room. So that's really sad for me.
That is sad.
Basic human rights and hygiene to squat in your lounge room.
That is just sad, and once again, we're not bagging out the parents. It's just sad on every level. So we just need to come together as a community. If we don't do anything different, nothing's going to change. So grateful for people like Sasha coming aboard and sharing their experience of this, guys. We really need to take the taboo off this subject. Open up an open dialogue about it so people know the truth about this drug. It's not something that we run away from and be scared of. If we do that, then meth's just going to continue to have its way with our community. So we're really taking the taboo off it and just looking at it with honest and open hearts and a compassionate outlook as well. Definitely don't want to. We're not bagging addicts at all. We've come through recovery, so we're definitely not doing that.
I did want to mention something. So we had a discussion the other day, and so as I said, I've been doing foster care for 10 years, and I'm pretty well educated in looking after children. But I myself do not know what ICE look like. So this is also, we can't ignore the problem and just go, oh, it doesn't pertain to us. As I said, I had a friend, her husband was on it for 2 years.
Yeah.
They weren't in the foster care system.
Yeah.
So I think we have to clarify, because I've only just learned this, I know this sounds bad, but I only kind of discovered what meth was by watching the series Breaking Bad on Foxtel.
Yeah, we get a lot of that.
Yeah. So I think we need to clarify that meth
didn't help the situation in that series.
But ice is meth.
Yes, it's the same thing. A lot of people.
It's not a mystery drug. It is meth.
Yeah.
It's just a different name.
That's right.
That's
yeah.
correct. Yeah.
We get that a lot. People just aren't educated. Oh, it used to be meth, but now this ice has sort of taken off. It's the same thing, guys. It's just got stronger and there's more of it, and it's easier. And Shabu, other names. Like, this is the stuff we put into our workshops, the other names for ice. So I'll just tell you guys, ice is the street name for the purely synthetic drug, which is crystal methamphetamine.
Yeah.
When I say synthetic, it means it's purely man-made, doesn't derive from a plant, it's not an opiate, it's not like heroin or cocaine. So this drug is purely man-made. It's got things like hydrochloric acid in it, acetone, lithium, ammonia. Okay, there is nothing in this drug that is good for you. Nothing at all. And when you go and pick up a Sadie from Old Mate, a Sadie is the bag you get the drugs in. The ingredients aren't on it, nor is a big 10 poison, don't take. So,
do you know what the big concern for me was? I heard the other day, is because I know the drugs are in the schools because different people tell me, the kids tell me, is they can get it for free. So don't think it can't happen to your kid, and just because I'm a foster carer, I mean, my friends will be watching this as well. Don't think it cannot happen to your kid, because I know your kid goes to school with some of the foster children that I look after. So if your daughter or son is offered something for free, and it looks kind of like a little bit of a lolly, oh yeah, this will be fun. They're getting it for free samples first, which I believe then that's kind of to trap them into getting like an addiction. Then they're going to buy it.
Yeah.
So don't think it can't happen to your family. The best thing I can say from my friends and parents: educate your children. Say no to drugs, not even once.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. That's so true. They will give the drugs for free, and that's because once a person's got a taste, they'll do anything to keep getting it. A lot of the time, they'll get the addiction, and so that's sad, but it's true. And also with the young girls, you were mentioning the young girls, this drug is a stimulant, and a lot of the dealers and people out there will promote it as a weight loss thing, which is very scary because the body image stuff going around at the moment is just incredible. So this is not something to take to lose weight. You're beautiful anyway, young ladies out there, and stop thinking you need to be a size 4 to be beautiful. Your beauty is within. Don't ever forget that. That's real. So that's really scary. The dealers will do that, and they're promoting it as a weight loss drug. It's very scary.
So it's not for 20 and 30-year-olds. This is at teens and pre-teens. I mean, I've heard of children at 11 and 12 taking it
Yeah.
in our local community schools.
Yeah. This is out there, guys. I'm so glad you're saying all this. This is out there. It isn't, we're not making this up. It is everywhere. Whether you're conscious of it or not, this drug is out there. And the kids have access to it. There's been drugs in school for as long as we can remember. Sadly, this drug, ice, is now the drug that is in our community. And it's just, there's nothing... This drug, like I've shared a million times, will strip everything away from you. And to lose 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds to this drug is just a very, very sad state of affairs, you know? And like these kids that are coming into your care, if their parents are ice addicts, they're losing... It's not only the child has lost so much, you know, they've lost their parents, the parents have lost their kids.
Yeah. But do you know what the dilemma is? I'm a foster carer. Yes, I can take younger children in that parents, you know, may have an ice addiction. But what happens to those children that are in their preteens or teens? And I'm going to tell you, be brutally honest, it's really hard to find foster carers that will take in teens. So how are you going to find, say, the only alternative if your child is on, say, 14, 15, has tried drugs, addicted to ice, where does that child go? The parent can't look after the child? A foster carer doesn't want to look after an addicted teen?
Yeah.
So where are these teens going to go? So there's no place to go for them to be educated?
Yeah.
But now at least we've got the AIC, double AIC.
Double AIC, it's a tongue twister. Hey. Call AIC, we can do brief interventions. If you're in that situation where you do have a 14-year-old and they're in the middle there, which I personally have had something this week along those lines, we can come out, we can step in, and we can really assess the situation. And usually we've got a pathway that the parents can take and the child. So call us. Call AAIC. Number is 566 56063. Family support is 0481 844 555. Is there anything else that you want to share? This is going to be seen by 8 billion people over the next couple of years. And you've been wonderful. Definitely an Earth Angel. Well, what would we do without foster carers? You know,
we need more foster carers.
There you go.
We need more foster carers because we need them at early stages, but also as well as the teens. Open your home to a teen as well. They've got nowhere to go. Yeah. You know.
So if you feel called to be a foster carer, you know, we need people serving everywhere and helping out everywhere. So if you feel called, I don't know what the number is for that. Do you know it off the top of your head?
You can go onto the internet and you can Google Department of Communities and contact them, or Child Safety, and numbers will come up. And they will put you in the right direction when the next training is and how to the process of how to do it.
Nice. Speaking of training, guys, we're going to wrap up very soon, but while I'm at it, speaking of training, Sasha has mentioned she didn't even know what ice looked like. Also, she didn't know that meth was the same thing as ice. That's for a lot of people. If you are in that situation, call AAIC. We can come out to businesses, we can come out to individuals and do this workshop. So you will be completely educated about the drug ice, the nature of this drug, and addiction. So if you're not educated and you want to be, get in touch. We can, as I said, we can do workshops for groups of people, personally, families, businesses, schools, anyone and everyone, sporting clubs. My favourite question. In one word, down the lens, in one word, describe meth.
Deadly.
It certainly is deadly. That's why we say not even once here at AAIC.
Not even once.
Not even once. It is not worth it. What an amazing service Sasha is providing, and foster carers out there. I've got so much love for you guys. I've learnt so much in the last week about what you guys do, and I mean the community would completely fall apart without you people.
We need more carers.
And we need more. So join up. Like, the kids matter. You know, the kids matter. So if you feel called, definitely look into that. Is there anything else?
I wanted to thank you guys too, because a friend of mine introduced me to you recently, so I didn't know you were here. So this is going to be a fantastic service for me as well, and I would love to work with you in the future and see if we can at least come up with a solution or some better education for everyone out there, so family members, people with the addiction, foster carers, and to save the children and help the children.
Yeah. Absolutely, that's what we need. We want to bring everyone together, help everyone, you know, and just, Yeah. So join the army, guys. The army is really how you can assist us make a difference in the community. The AAIC Army. Go to AustralianAntiIceCampaign.org.au. You can donate for as little as $5 a month, which is really nothing, but that is a big help. And enough people join up, we can do an amazing job in this community, so we make it a reality that ice is not an issue. It doesn't need to be. And tax deductible. We are a registered charity, so it is tax deductible. Thank you so much, Sasha. That was amazing. If you're called to be a foster carer, jump on board. Thank you to all the support online. We are done for the week. Next week I have a pretty full-on story. Mr. Josh is joining us. He's a recovering addict. He's got quite some many years clean up his sleeve, and he's got a full-on story to share. So 6:30 p.m. next week, guys. We'll see you. Lots of love. Thanks for your support. Be sure to share everything. We'll see ya.
Not even once.
Not even once.
Not even